Hi, Frank. How may we help you today?
Hi. Hi, Sarah. How are you? I'll make it quick because I know you don't have much time.
Mm-hmm.
Back last February or January, my brother passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And long story short, my daughter moved back in after having a bad relationship. She's my biological daughter. Her and my wife had a falling out. It was a big argument. I was devastated because of my brother's death. I didn't react quick enough. She walked out on me because she said, I won't do anything about my daughter. She said that I always take her side.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, again, I ended up having my daughter move out. She was 27. She was only there for a few months, but my wife always had a problem with her. She had been out when she was 18. We went through a lot of marriage counseling. I went through a lot of therapy. I have a real long history of abuse. Physical and emotional. My parents were not nice to me. I always felt kind of rejected, so I had a very severe depression for a long time. I smoked lot of pot.
Mm-hmm.
And I quit smoking pot about a year ago when that happened because I knew that was one of the things she didn't like. I worked on myself, and we made it back. And we went on a retreat, a marriage retreat, Sedona Soul, and we had a great time, and we went on another vacation, and everything seemed fine. We were making love a lot. Everything was happening great. I got back home, and I am very busy. I'm a very busy man, and since my positive attitudes come back, I've gotten even busier because everybody wants to hire me, and I own my own company, and what had happened was that there was some situations going on where she was getting mad that I wasn't spending enough time with her, and it was because of my work. So when I did, her roommate was always there. She had moved out with her best friend. They signed a year lease. It's up in February.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, again, to try and make a long story short, the roommate keeps on interfering, and then something happened. I called her up to celebrate. I wanted her to go out to dinner. She took a bunch of hours. She showed up with her roommate. Her roommate said, why are you selling your house? Why don't you just stay there? I said, because, gosh darn it, I want to be with my wife, and I can't do that because she won't come back to that house because she thinks it's my daughter's house. And I said, look, listen, it sounds like you're more of a partner than me. I took off my wedding ring, and I threw it to her, and that's what did it. And the next day, she called me over for lunch, and she told me that she can't do it anymore. She was crying. She said that that I haven't changed and that I'm very inconsistent. Now, sir, I am very inconsistent about my attitude. I never raise my voice. I'm usually a really nice guy, but I lost it on the roommate because I couldn't believe she was interfering like this. And plus, they were 2 hours late, and they were dressed up, and I didn't know what was going on, and I overreacted. And now, no contact. She hasn't talked to me since before Thanksgiving. And I'll be honest with you, I am worse this time than I was last time because I just don't know what to do. I don't want to bother her. I'm not texting her. I'm trying to leave her alone, but oh my gosh, I'm hurting. I don't know what to do, sir.
I am so sorry for your pain, Frank. I really am. I know that you're hurt deeply here. And what I'm hearing, though, is that you've had a pattern of being hurt by people who should be loving and taking care of you for a long, long time, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so that scar tissue gets deep, Frank. I mean, it gets really deep. And I can understand your anger at the roommate because from your perception, that woman's standing between you and your wife. And I can understand even, because of the fact that you have a history of being hurt, being abused, being used, that when they come in 2 hours late and they're dressed up, I know that your mind's going through where have they been or where are they going? And are there other people involved? And I mean, I understand all those things. So your frustration, I get. Yet at the same time, even when we understand, when we get so frustrated and bent out of shape, as you know, if we allow that to lead us to doing something like throwing a ring, it has consequences. Now, I'm not trying to beat you up. I'm just telling you what you already know. What I recommend, friend, are you getting any kind of help for your depression?
Well, I have been seeing, we have a coaching counselor, and now my wife won't talk to the counselor, and she's blown off a couple. I'm still talking to her.
Okay.
And
are you seeing a coach or a counselor? There's a difference between those two. So are you seeing a coach or a counselor? Which one?
I guess it would be a coach. I was with a therapist counselor, but I really think I'm broken past a lot of the blame and living in my past.
Okay.
I really
I'm
worked
good.
hard on it.
But are you still suffering from depression, my friend?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, if it means, yes, I'm staying up all night long, I can't eat, I can't function, yeah,
Okay.
I guess so, but I think it's more
That's
the
depression.
situation.
That's depression. That's depression, Frank. Here's what I'm going to recommend. I recommend that you go online and type in PHQ, the letter P. Actually, it stands for Public Health Questionnaire, but it's called a PHQ, Public Health Questionnaire 9. Now, that means the 9-question version. It's all over the internet. You can find it. It is not a diagnostic tool. It is a screening tool. Take it, Frank. Really, I recommend you take it, my friend, and be honest with your scores. Now, at the bottom, it's going to give you, if you're scored this, we recommend you do that. If you score that, and somewhere along the line, and here's what I'm guessing is going to happen with you. I mean, I don't diagnose, but I'm guessing you're going to find that you are at least moderately depressed, if not clinically depressed. And if that's the case, then you really need to find somebody who can help you with that. Now, that's not going to be a coach, right, Kimberly?
No.
Coaches help you think through situations, but they do not do therapy or counseling. At least they're not supposed to. Okay, and you're going to need somebody. Now, if it were I, and you tell me, Kimberly, because you're the psychologist here, my PhD is in a different area than psychology. It's in marital satisfaction and sexual satisfaction. But if I were to take the PHQ-9 and it shows that I need to see somebody, I would think, two things. One is you go find your physician.
Absolutely.
And you show your physician, whether that's an internist, or, whatever, your family doctor or whomever, and you show him or her, here's my score. And they often will say, okay, for the short term, let's give you some meds that can help. Now, it might wind up being long term, but at least for the short term, let's give you some meds. And then to go see a counselor or therapist, not about your marriage. Not about your marriage, but about your depression and the pain that you've been through. Because, my friend, the pain in your voice is palpable. I hurt for you. And a good therapist, particularly if aided by the right meds, a good therapist can help you deal with all this pain deep inside of you. Now, we hope that you can put your marriage back together. But and tell me if you disagree, Kimberly.
No, the research.
I think it starts with.
It does. The research backs that up. I mean, I don't have the percentages in front of me, but by far, it is the most effective to pair therapy with antidepressants in order for moving past that depression, and it doesn't have to be long term. But even on top of that, I mean, when you pair exercise and healthy diet on top of that, it just helps it that much more. And I want to even say it's cognitive behavioral therapy. Does that sound right? But that, anyway, there's research about it. Your physician would be aware of it as well. But please do that,
But you start there rather than start with trying to save the marriage.
Oh, right. I mean, right now, number one, you can't do much. There's a lack of contact, and I don't even think that you, Frank, would be in the position to try because the emotions within you are going to block so much of just your pure effort. And it's real. Depression, anxiety, panic attacks, all those things are real, and they block our ability to process our emotions.
That's correct.
So yes, we always recommend you deal with you as the person first. You will still be able to address the issues with your marriage later. And I know you said you don't have any contact. We have things that we can help. We can't force contact, but through things that we offer, like our smart contact videos on YouTube and things like that, you might want to view later. But first, we would want to recommend that you do this for sure.
Which is what the young man from Tennessee was doing earlier. He had backed off and was working on him first. Because sometimes that's really what you have to do. If there are things going on with you, then deal with that. And you're saying, but wait a minute, that puts things off. Too much time passes. I need to save my marriage now. But if you are acting out of anger or being impetuous or those kinds of things, then we really, really strongly recommend that you really do need to start with you first. You've got to get those things under control because you'll inevitably wind up doing things that you shouldn't do that make the other thing even worse, that pushes the other person, your husband or your wife, even further away. That's why you start with you first, to make sure that you can get some control of yourself. Wow, I hear the pain in his voice, though. It's just heartbreaking to hear that pain. We run into those things all the time.